Okay, so there are some important documents that you have to send or you have to receive when you are doing the business or the trading activities with other supplier or the customers. Okay, so number one is returns and credit and debit notes. If a common, it is a common in a business for a customer to return goods to a supplier either because they don't match the original order or they bear some fault. Sometimes the goods are sold to a dealer on a sale or return basis, which means that if a retailer does not resell the goods, they can be sent back to the supplier. Just like किसी डीलर ने अगर आपको कोई मतलब गुड्स वगैरह दिए हैं और उसने ये आपको मतलब दावा किया कि अगर आपकी ये जो गुड्स हैं अगर सेल आउट नहीं होती तो आप मुझे वापस कर दीजिएगा, तो उस रिटर्न में आप डेबिट नोट या क्रेडिट नोट उससे सेंड कर देते हो कि आप अपनी गुड्स जो है वो आके वापस ले जाएं और जो पेमेंट है वो हमें वापस दे दें. So credit note is a document which cancels all or the part of the previously issued invoice. If a buyer is not satisfied with the goods and the seller agrees to take the good back, the seller will issue a credit note for the items returned. The amount owed to the seller is then the amount of the original invoice less the value of the credit note. Credit note is opposite of the invoice. And so then is debit note by the buyer. It is a formal request for the issuance of credit note. It is sent by the customer along with the goods returned. And debit note by the seller. A debit note is an adjusting document similar to a credit note. It is sent from the supplier to a customer when there is a need to increase the amount owed by the customer. And then is remittance advice. It is sent with the payment and shows what a payment represents. It details the payment or it shows what items are being paid. रेमिटेंस एडवाइस में ऐसा होता है कि जब आप क्रेडिट पे सप्लायर से गुड्स लेते हो एंड देन उसे जब पेमेंट करते हो तो जब उसे पेमेंट करते हो तो तब एक एक्सप्लेनेटरी एक डॉक्यूमेंट बना के उसे सेंड करते हो कि लाइक मैंने इन आइटम्स का पे कर दिया है और जो बाकी रिमेनिंग आइटम्स हैं उनके इतने जो है बैलेंस जो है तो मेरे अकाउंट में वो ड्यू है. सो जस्ट यू कैन से लाइक एक्सप्लेनेशन एक तरह की एक ब्रीफ नोट होता है कि जिन आइटम्स की आपने पेमेंट करी है ना वो उसे कहते हैं जी रेमिटेंस एडवाइस. एंड देन आता है प्रोफॉर्मा इनवॉइस एंड डमी इनवॉइस. When a customer does not want credit or wishes to pay in advance for the goods, he may request a pro forma invoice from the supplier. This will show all the details of the sales as we have seen on invoices above, but will not be entered into the seller's book of accounts. It is a dummy invoice. The customer will create a check or get the cash to pay the pro forma invoice. When the seller receives the cash or check, it creates a real invoice which is recorded as a normal because it is paid immediately. The invoice is effectively a cash on delivery and invoice. Many important buyers, i.e., buyers who require goods from the seller overseas, require pro forma invoice to that payment, and export or import documentations can be prepared for the dispatch. Buyer whose credit is not good also have little choice but to pay against the pro forma. And the other terms are ex work. If this is written on the invoice, it meant that cost of the goods does not include the cost of the delivery. And free on board, this means that goods will be transferred free to the ship by the supplier. अगर एक्स वक्त लिखा होगा आपकी इन्वॉइस के ऊपर जो आपने आपके सेलर ने आपको सेंड करी है तो उसका ये मतलब होगा कि जो गुड्स हैं उसके अंदर जो आपका डिलीवरी का एक्सपेंस है वो ऐड नहीं है तो वो आपको बाद में ऐड करना पड़ेगा. और अगर उसने अपने इन्वॉइस के ऊपर सेंड करते हुए फ्री ऑन बोर्ड FOB लिख दिया हुआ है तो इट मीन्स दैट कि जो आपका आपका डिलीवरी का एक्सपेंस है वो ऑन द हाउस है कि वो आपको पे नहीं करना पड़ेगा.